One of them being more informative and the second one being more of an a more formative, more information on the actual journey leading towards it. Hey Team Momentum, Sean here, and I'm going to share with you basically my journey now moving forward towards my bodybuilding competition. So if you haven't watched my other video, make sure you click over here and you can hear why I'm actually going through this. Because I've had a lot of people since releasing that video asking me, how are you going to do it? What's the plan? What's your program? And I even put a poll out on Instagram asking people if you want to know more about it. So this is the follow-up video to answer all those questions. So the first thing is, what is the goal? And before I get started, this is a really useful tool for yourselves to be able to use this template and carry it across to your goals. And not just in training, but in life. But in the training context, this is going to make a lot more sense. So my goal is a very specific goal. We call this a SMART goal. If you do not have a SMART goal, it makes it harder for you to be able to get motivated, disciplined, and even saying that, find the help when you need it. My goal was to be on stage on the 15th of October in a bodybuilding competition. No goals on winning or anything along those lines. It's just me versus me. I just wanted to be this version of myself when I was 24, 25, now turning 30, and I have a lot more injuries as well. So the goal was to be able to get it by the October 15th, and it was also specific enough for me to go, I want to be in the better shape than I was previously, beating, once again, this guy. How I'm going to get there was the biggest question. So as you all know, I've been a personal trainer for 10 years, and I've been training in gyms for the last 15. And the biggest thing I tell a lot of people out there, and this is the biggest mistake that a lot of people do, they don't ask for help. They assume that they can actually do it all. Now, I can help people get to a competition, but me trying to help myself to get to a competition, that's probably asking for, well, problems. The reason why is you get a lot more emotional about your own progress. You either push yourself too hard or you don't push yourself at all, and that's where you don't want to be. You don't hold yourself as accountable as you may say. Now, for anyone out there who keeps thinking, yeah, I can hold myself accountable without a coach or anything, well, think of it this way. Michael Jordan never won his first ring until he had Phil Jackson as a coach. Kobe Bryant was also the same situation when he brought back Phil Jackson. And even saying that, greatest players like Shaquille O'Neal never won a ring at the Lakers until great players like Kobe Bryant came on board. They always need someone to rely on, to keep them accountable and push them and elevate them. So whatever you think that you can do, you can always be better. And why wouldn't you want to be the better version of yourself? So I got my coach, Stefan, over here to be able to help me out with my nutrition. Now, the reason why I trusted him with just nutrition is because, well, I can't do it. I got too emotional myself, and I did try to do this for roughly around 8 to 10 weeks, and I got some pretty good results. And then I realized I was spending 2 hours on a Sunday trying to analyze my data. I said to myself, I can't be doing this if I want to spend my weekends with my wife or even thinking about training. I want to train, I don't want to think about training. So I left that over to Stefan. The reason why I didn't give him training is because obviously I am testing all the programs that I give before I give to my clients and you guys out there. And also with my hectic schedule, I don't think anyone can really write an effective program for me just yet, because I only have about 4 hours maybe in a week or less, and sometimes it's sporadic as well. So a little bit of work and a little bit of the fact that I have a complicated lifestyle, my training program is what I'm going to go through later on. So after finding out my goal is, when I need to achieve it, or how specific it needs to be, should I say, I also got a coach to help me keep me accountable, so I also have an environment to be able to talk to and problems I have as well. Someone to tell me what to do and keep me accountable was definitely one of the biggest things. It's taken a huge load off my shoulders so I can focus on things like going to work, and also saying that, spending time with my wife. And actually training, might I add. 2 hours on a Sunday just looking at programs for myself didn't seem like a great time for me. Now the next part after this is finding my training program. And this is where a lot of you out there might be thinking, whoa, how's this gonna work, okay? So I split my training programs into, first of all, how many days a week I can train and what I'm willing to give up. I did have to sacrifice quite a bit to make sure I knew I had to get at least 4 sessions per week. So I train on a Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock before I go to work. I train on a Friday night straight after work so I can go home and spend time with my wife straight afterwards. I train on a Saturday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning before I go to work. And I train at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning so that I can spend my whole weekend with my wife. So I was willing to be able to invest the time by going in at times that may not be ideal to many people, but it allowed me to give me a bigger reward, so to speak, which is, once again, time. Were they perfect? Definitely not. There were some sessions out there when I was just on the floor going, why am I doing this? To even some days where on a Sunday morning, it's cold, especially in winter right now, I'll be like, nah, I'm gonna sleep in a little bit more, and I end up missing the session. So this is how I've split up my training program. For the first half of the year, I did it as 2 uppers and 2 lowers, potentially with some accessory-based movements as well. Now, I've got injuries, so that was the first thing I needed to look at. What is starting to cause my injuries to flare up? And I actually had a back injury earlier this year because I decided that I wanted to deadlift. Why? Because deadlifts were a great movement for me when I was 20 to 27. Now that I'm 30, I have to make sure that I train myself to what I am right now and not what I was back then. So I took out deadlifts as a heavy compound-based movements and still stuck it with some dumbbell Romanian deadlifts instead. I took away heavy back squats because it took too much time. They do really good for my legs, but the cost benefit wasn't there. I thought to myself, I can get more benefit by fitting in more exercises, or at least harder exercises, and get better at them. So took away the heavy back squats. I did some front squats instead. I did some Zercher squats. As you may see, I'm a big advocate for Zercher squats now. Works the upper back muscles too, and also the legs. And I've been doing a lot more things like leg pressing, step ups, as well as my favorite Bulgarian split squats. And I've been adding a lot more tempo as opposed to weight, and reducing the amount of time that I rest in between. And those have been movements that have been working well for me. Now, for my upper body, now that we're moving into these closer weeks, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. In the first half of the year, I did 2 upper body sessions, and I made them as push and pull. So upper body sessions, I do the first half is all push-based exercises. I do some bench press as my main, accessory bench press, some push-ups, and also machine work as well. Then I did some pull movements, working both vertical and horizontal. So I did some chin-ups, lat pull-downs, as well as seated rows and dumbbell rows as well. Then I started working a little bit of shoulders with some lateral raises, and I just basically periodized my A day to my B day, making sure that one day was more hypertrophy based and the other day a little bit more strength based, so to speak. Once again, not a power lifter though. Now that we're getting to the last nitty gritty part, closer to the competition, this is where I start to specify a few things. I analyzed a few of my weaknesses and I said to myself, I probably don't need to do legs twice per week. Why? Well, first of all, my legs seem to be holding up pretty well with just the amount of volume that we're doing. I can always add it back on. When it comes to the last 15 weeks, it's very rarely that you'll start to see massive amounts of changes in terms of hypertrophy, because A, I'm in a caloric deficit, and B, you don't really grow muscles in 15 weeks. It takes longer than that. So I said to myself, the goal is just to maintain the amount of muscle I have in my legs and try and define it, so to speak, and maintain even more my upper body. This is where I have a lot of problems in the last few years, as based from my own knowledge. So now I'm doing 3 upper body based sessions, and I've split up the sets because I've found that my relationship between my sets and myself have a certain criteria. So let's break that into a little bit more detail. Over the last few years, I've been doing this for 10 to 15 years, I found that if I was able to do roughly around 20 to 25 working weight sets in a week for push-based exercises, specifically my chest and my triceps, mostly my chest, and then triceps being maybe 5 or 6 sets, I've been able to get quite a good amount of definition. So I split that across the 3 days, and 25 sets is roughly 8 sets per day, and I've split that into the program. Sounds like a lot. Then after that, I worked into my upper body, and I worked that roughly around 12 to 15 sets for vertical pull, and then another 10 to 12 for horizontal pull has given me quite a bit of good results. Once again, being able to take photos, my body weights, and also saying that just tracking my sets, reps, and intensities as well has been able to help me get there. So now that's what I'm basically experimenting with for the last 15 weeks. And me and Stefan, my coach, have been experimenting with higher macros, with lower macros, and also with this training program and seeing how it goes. On top of that, I also need to hit 10,000 steps every single day, which has been a great thing to do and track on your phone. If you haven't done that, you need to make sure you do that. And for days where I don't get my 10,000, say if I get like 7,000 like I did on the previous Monday, what I do is I try and get 10,000 steps for the average of the week. So I'm short by 3,000, I'll get 11,000 on Tuesday, 11,000 on Wednesday, 11,000 on Thursday, hits my 10,000 steps. Then on top of that, I also have to do cardio. Now my cardio is not too intense. It's roughly and sitting around 15 minutes, 4 days a week. Not hard at all. I've seen other people do worse. So the reason why I'm sharing this is because maybe for you out there, you're interested in knowing what I'm doing. Now I did specify in my last video that I am going to be focusing more on what my journey is leading to this competition. So if you're listening to this, clearly you want to get to know me, and I want to get to know you guys as well. So to put it out there, if you're not following me on Instagram as well, I am obviously a lot more active on that, on the stories, but I try and post at least once to twice a week on YouTube, one of them being more informative and the second one being more of an more information on the actual journey leading towards it. So all I can say for you, Team Momentum, is if you have any questions, just pop them down in the comment section. I really want to know what you guys are interested about and what I can show you throughout leading to the competition. Now, I have said from the start as well, if anything important, like super important comes up, health-wise, family-wise, those things always take more priority than this competition, because I know I can just do it again next year. If I've done it once, 5 years ago, I can do it again, and I'm very close to it again this year. Well, there's nothing stopping me. I know I need to know when the priority is. So anyway, team, I thank you for watching this all the way through. If you have any questions leading up to the whole thing, just let me know. This is probably the platform I want to be able to connect with you guys. And if you have subscribed to my channel, all I can say is thank you. Thank you for your support. Give me some comments, give me some thumbs up. And even, like I said, subscribing to the channel has been so helpful for me. And what I want to do for you guys out there is if you want a copy of my program, just send me or put a comment section down below and I'll reach out to you. And or send me an email. I'll put the email down in the description box and let me know, because I want to be able to provide something to you guys as well. And this is the exact same program that I'm going to be doing. Obviously the nutrition will be a little bit different, and I'll give you some guidelines that can help you. But I think you may enjoy the training program if you're someone who likes to do 3 upper bodies and 1 lower body. And for anyone out there who likes doing lower bodies, I'll just chuck in some extra lower body exercises for you guys, but you have to comment down below and I'll keep that open for the next week or so, because who knows how long this video will float around for on YouTube, and I can't promise you something that I don't have. So just for the next 7 days, whenever this video releases, send me a message, send me an email and go, hey, look, I'm interested in this program, and we'll send you a copy straight away. Anyway, team, take care and keep building momentum.